I'm back with another travel video. This is to continue with my obsession west of the Hudson, north of New York City. I started the same way as I did in the last video at the Poughkeepsie train station. You can see in the previous video how I got to the Huguenot village, which I revisited because it's just such a charming, quiet place. It's like a sanctuary, really. And from there I crossed the river, and this is where it gets interesting. I went up to the Mohonk mountain like I did last time, but I did not go up here. I did not go into the property. There's not much to see here. It's just riding up. This is let me see. Yeah, this is where you have the biggest uphill. You're going up about 1,000 feet, so it's not easy. And if you have an electric, you're gonna see the battery losing some significant amount of charge. But the point is, this part of the trip was totally new to me. I've never been up here ever, and then come back on the loop. This is a trail. All of this is not a trail. This is more like at first a big, like a main road, 2 lanes and higher speeds, and then here it becomes this more of a single lane, weird but paved country road, if I can call it that. Once I got here, I just saw amazing wildlife. There were hawks out like pigeons in groups of several dozens, making loud noises, which they never do in the city. I mean, there are a few hawks here and there in Central Park, in Riverside Park, in Manhattan, but that's not typical. I must add that the total trip getting back to the village, this Huguenot historic street, and then from there getting back to the train station, was a total of 40 miles. So okay, this is like 30 miles getting back to the village, but then you have to still ride back to the station across the bridge. The thing is, once you get onto this narrow country road, it gets really, really nasty, up and down, frequent ups and downs. Not easy at all. See, this is the road. It's really not a 2-lane road. This is like one wide lane, but it is paved. It's paved all the way. So I'll show you the videos I took as I returned to the Huguenot village. I just had to take some footage of the Brompton Interceptor. There were a few people around, but it is so quiet, almost silent. Very unusual, at least for a city person, and very safe looking as well. Nobody on bikes. A few people on foot and walking dogs and jogging and things like that. On the way back from the trip, the trail actually ends up very close to this place. So I guess one of the way of getting to the village would be to take the trail if you are approaching it from the north. And I had to take some shots of Huguenot Street again. I'm not sure when, if ever, I shall return, but this is just such a beautiful place. And here is my most favorite house from the end of the 17th century. That's how long ago it was. I think the whole neighborhood should be required to build houses in the same style. Even the gas station should be made out of stones, just like this one. Like this wooden house, this is probably 20th century. It's not even interesting. The building on the left is supposed to be some old stone church, but I think this is a rebuild. The original must have been destroyed or demolished. And that wooden house also. It's not the original. if you go down this main road, you are going to hit the trail, or at least end up very close to it. And the trail actually goes further down. That's why you see these bikers coming across, because there is actually a kind of a rest station with a bike fixing setup, and a bunch of people with vans and cars. Like, a lot of people go out there to exercise, but that trail does not go up the mountain. And this is already the west side of the mountain, so I get past the tweak and it's almost all downhill. And this is a nice big road. There are some cars, but you have a shoulder, not a big shoulder. I don't know if you can see it, but in the sky there are these tiny black dots. Those are actually hawks, and there are dozens of them. They are typically red-tailed hawks, but there might be some other species as well. And you can see pretty far out into the mountains. So the wildlife is just amazing. I did not see any foxes or bear this time around, but assuming that there are so many hawks that can sort of make a living out of this area, that means there must be wildlife. But the birds, you always see the birds. They are always out, not just the hawks, but countless colorful little birds. This was my final shot when the two-lane road ends and you end up on a single lane. It's just pristine nature. Unlike everywhere in New York, there isn't a piece of garbage anywhere. No discarded facial masks, no garbage bags, condoms, all that crap that's all over New York, even in Westchester. None of that. And there are all these unique textures and trees that you see. I loved it, but it's a hard terrain to ride, especially if you don't have an electric. This is it for the current video, and possibly for this Mohonk mountain as well. If you're interested in joining rides, scroll down to the link, go to my resource page, and at the bottom there is a link to our Facebook page. And we do have a ride scheduled for the following weekend, not this one, but the weekend after that. And we have rides scheduled for every few weeks, really. So you have no reason not to join. Even if you don't have a Facebook account, you can see the information.